Hi, everybody, and welcome to class. My name is Mark, and I'll be working with you in Exposition and Persuasion in the spring 2016 semester. There are a couple of students in this class that have taken classes with me before, so watching this video for them is no big surprise. But for those of you I have not worked with in the past, this is my preferred way of communicating with you each week within the class. I could put a lot of announcements on the screen and hope that you read them. I could also depend upon you to search around and find things within the course, but I find those things cumbersome. This is my preferred way of communicating with students. I hope you like it because, well, you're going to get a new video from me every week of the semester. Of course, if for any reason, if you ever wanted to watch one of these videos again, I don't keep them up very long. You can always search me in YouTube and you'll find a lot of videos related to Ivy Tech that I've done for this class and others. What we're going to be talking about today is our first week in the class. I apologize if my voice is a little scratchy. I'm getting over a cold. And I want to go over some important information in the syllabus and in the course calendar and talk about what we're going to be doing for the first week of class. This video is being recorded on Tuesday, January the 5th. Of course, the class has not officially opened for a couple of days, but I want to stay on top of things, so I elected to do this today. The first thing I'll have you do is go to the Start Here tab, and we'll take a look at the syllabus and the course calendar. I recommend you print these off because I'm not going to go through the entire thing. That would take too long. I'm going to talk about a couple of pieces of information in there I think are important, but I expect that you'll print it out because you can always refer back to it even when you're not in front of a laptop or a PC. You can make notes in the margins, you can reorder the pages, whatever works for you. And here is the course syllabus. It's listed in two places. I'm going to take the top one. And let's see what we have. All right, the first thing I want to point out is how to stay in touch with me. And you'll notice I put right here at the top under my name, my text number. That's my preferred way of communicating with you, is by text. Now, this is not the only class that I'm teaching for Ivy Tech this semester. So when you do text me, the only thing I ask is that you tell me your name. Even if you've texted me before, I may not recognize the number, and which course you're taking. That way I don't get you confused with another student in another class, and I won't give you a dumb answer that way. If you want to call me, you're welcome to call me at any time. I have a toll-free number, and there's the number displayed right there. I work full-time for MetLife Insurance, and I teach for Ivy Tech part-time. So if you call this number, you're going to hear me answering the phone, "Hello, MetLife." Well, if you hear that, you've got the right guy. But don't be shy. You're welcome to call me anytime. So text first, call second. If you do need to send me an email, here's my email address. I don't answer email quite as quick as I answer a text, but you're still welcome to use that. I also use Twitter a great deal. I will probably never tweet about anything related to class. However, if you are a Twitter user, you can send me a direct message, and that's yet another way you can communicate with me. So follow me if you'd like, and if you do, I'll probably follow you back. There's my supervisor's name, and if you have any problems with this online course, there's the person to contact and their contact information. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here. Everyone that has taken this class has taken English 111. I don't know how recently you may have taken it, and I'm going to talk briefly later in this video about MLA because MLA is the only writing style we will be using in this course. So not for discussion boards, but when you have to write a paper, you're going to be using MLA, not APA or any other format. There is no text required for this. All of the text materials you need are contained within the course, and I'll show you where those are in just a little while. Due dates, of course, are all in the course calendar, and we'll cover that. Now, I understand that things come up, and sometimes a student gets into a course, and for whatever reason, it's just not a good fit for them. Here is the deadline to drop the course, I think with a full tuition refund. I hope that doesn't happen to you, but if it does, I understand. Has to be in by January the 22nd. If you find yourself in that circumstance, please text me first so I can help that make that transition as easy as possible. I understand things happen. Do I need to come to campus for this course? No. You can if you'd like, but I won't be there. And the last day to withdraw is Saturday, April the 9th. Again, if that comes up and you have to get out, text me first. I'll make it easy for you if I can. I will not go through the assignments and the grading at this time because I'm going to cover those as they come up week to week. The only assignment that you'll have for week one is a discussion board. So I'm going to talk about that when we get in what we have to do for this week. But since I've got this pulled up on my screen and you're looking at it now, make sure when you print this off, you read over these carefully. It'll give you a lot of good information now about the upcoming projects. And when those projects come due, I will talk about them further. How is my grade calculated? Well, you can look right here and it'll tell you. Again, I'm not going to go through that because I try to keep these short. All right, that's it for the syllabus. Now we're going to go to the course calendar. And as with the syllabus, I won't go through the entire thing. I'll just point out a couple things to you. Course calendar is under the calendar of activities and deadlines. And there's one here that you can simply look at, but I recommend go ahead and print one out. I'm not going to open this one right now, but there it is. Print this off, stick it in a folder, hang on to it at least until May, then you can throw it away. So for week one, we're reviewing the syllabus and the calendar right now. I'll show you where the readings are that you have to do for this week. They're not too long, and there is a short assignment on visual rhetoric based on a political cartoon and advertising. You'll notice that the due date for the first week is Sunday, January the 17th. I just noticed that says 2015 instead of 2016. Before this class opens, I will make sure that those are corrected. I made a mistake there. Yes, class always opens on a Monday, and in this case, our first day of class will be January the 11th, and your assignments will be due on January the 17th of 2016, not 2015 as it says here. So again, class always starts on a Monday, and it ends on Sunday night at 11:59 p.m., 1 minute before midnight. And as you'll see for this week, in addition to changing the due dates that I need to do, we have the introduction discussion board, which is not graded but is still very important, so we get a sense of who is in the class. And then the session one discussion board on the political cartoon and the advertising. So for start here, I believe that's everything that we need to cover. Yes, it is. We're going to jump now into session one and go into just a little more detail about what we have to do and what's there. You're free to look through the rest of these class session folders, 1 through 15, but you don't have to. You really can just take this week by week, and it might be a little less cumbersome if you take it in that manner. If you like to look ahead, you're that kind of person, well, have at it. The objective of this particular session: apply critical reading and thinking skills to the writing process, recognize and explain issues and identify critical perspectives, analyzing audience, voice, and tone. There are no learning activities. That's not an open link. The course and the syllabus, we've just talked about those. Here are the readings for week one on the subject of literacy. Now, the readings overview says that these are all very short. Well, that's mostly true. Information literacy, and I'm not going to open this one up, and visual literacy, these are pretty short. You can probably read them in 5 to 10 minutes. New literacies and the one that's listed last, they're a little bit longer, but still, it's better than reading a chapter or two of a textbook. I'll scroll through this one just so you can get a sense of how long this is. The content is actually pretty good. I've read all of these myself. This one, if it were printed on a page, would probably be 4 to 5 pages. I'll close that tab and we'll open up one other one, breaking down an image and writing comments. And it's important that you read all of these before you get to the first assignment, which is analyzing the political cartoon. I think this one is just as long, if my memory serves me, as the first one I showed you. Yep, about the same length. But again, there's good information in here. So 3 articles to read, 2 of them not too bad, 2 of them a little bit longer, but nothing that is too much of a burden. Let's go back to the class session and take a look at the 2 discussion boards. The first one, introductions, ungraded but important. This is simply a chance for you to announce to me and to the other folks in the class who you are, what campus you're attending, what you're studying, if you know, and what you hope to get out of this course. It could be brief, it could be 5 or 6 sentences. That should be sufficient. I'll respond to all of you and hope to get to know you a little bit better. And then the second, although it's labeled Session 1 discussion, is a 2-part assignment. And in fact, I'll go ahead and open this now. I could have done this with introductions. I'm assuming everyone in the class is familiar with the discussion board process, but just in case, maybe you've forgotten, when you're ready to write, you've read all the articles, you've looked at the political cartoon, you simply click on Create Thread. You have to give your post a subject heading, and then you can simply type away. No one's posted yet because the course isn't officially opened, but that's how you do it. Create thread, and you're ready to go. Now for the first graded discussion board, as it says, you're going to explain and discuss a political cartoon by Phil Hands. I'll tell you up front, I've looked at the cartoon. Yeah, it's a little dated, but I didn't pick it. In fact, let's go ahead and take a look at it now. You can find the political cartoon by clicking on the link right here, and it will open for you. And you don't have to concern yourself with anything that's on the page aside from this one. And as I said, yeah, it's a little dated, but that's okay. After you've completed the readings and after you've looked at the cartoon, answer the following questions. Who's the audience? There might be more than one. What political views might this cartoon represent? And again, there could be more than one. How would a liberal audience view this cartoon? How would a conservative audience view this cartoon? How would women look at this cartoon? How would men look at this cartoon? Be sure to explain in the message of the cartoon describing the symbols and emotions. Remember, this is a persuasive class. We'll be spending a lot of time talking about symbolism and emotions. Your post should be about 250 words. How long is that? 250 words should be a couple of full paragraphs. Once you have completed writing your initial post, you're going to want to respond to 2 other folks in the class. You can agree with them. You can disagree with them. Please be respectful if you do. But more importantly, simply don't say, yes, I agree with you, or no, I disagree with you, but give reasons why. What we're talking about in this discussion board is purely opinion. No person's opinion is right and another one is wrong. They're both simply different interpretations of the same cartoon. And your response should be about 200 words to another student. And you need to do 2, so that's a total of 400 words. It does say in here in the instructions you can post a multimedia response, including PowerPoint, a Prezi, artwork, etc. While you're still welcome to do that, I think many students will simply find it easier to read someone else's posts and then type a response of their own. And that looks to be it for week one. A couple other things I'll point out to you. Again, if you need my contact information, it's also located here under the instructor tab. Same information. Anytime you want to check your grades, simply click on the grades tab over here on the left. I won't click on this now because I'm not a student in the class, and if I did, it would tell me I didn't have any grades. There are only 10 students in the class, counting or including me, which is not too bad of a group. And I'm sure we're all going to get to know one another very well by the time the class is ended. And hopefully by the time the class is ended, my voice will start to come back because I really am sounding a little rough today. So again, welcome to class, everybody. Make sure you go through the syllabus carefully, make notes on it, go through the calendar carefully, make notes on that as well, but most importantly, print both of them. You're also welcome to print the readings, although that is less important. This is not the first time I've taught an online class for Ivy Tech, and it has been my experience that the students that communicate with me the most absolutely do the best. And again, my text number is 812-498-4200. You're welcome to text me anytime. If you do, all I ask is that you tell me who you are and which class you're in. Before we go, I had almost forgotten one thing I wanted to include, and that is on the subject of MLA. I'm sure everyone is familiar with this, but just to be sure, in MLA, all your pages are numbered with your last name and then the number of the page. In the MLA header, your name always goes first. This is from one of my former students. My name always goes second. The abbreviation in this case would be ENG 112, not 111. This was for a different class. And you always list the date by day first, then month, then year, which is not how we typically say things. In our spoken English, we would never say 13 December. We always say December to the 13th, but this is MLA style, and that's simply how it's done. The title is always centered, and there must be a title. Indent all your paragraphs about 1/2 inch, and make sure you're using Times New Roman 12-point type. I'm keeping this brief because I know all of you have had English 111 before. You went through all this at the time. This is probably old hat, but let's start off on the right foot and make sure we get the little things right. If you have any questions about MLA, about citations, which I did not discuss right now, I welcome those at any time. That's it for this first video. I look forward to meeting all of you, and I'm saying that in air quotes, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you throughout the coming semester. Have a great week, everybody. Text me if you need me. Thanks.